The security camera caught it all, a man in a worn suit, shoulders slumped, wiping away tears as he walked to his car. Inside the building, Elaine Chen, CEO of Horizon Technologies, watched the footage on her monitor, the resume of Mark Winters still open on her desk. What happened next would transform not just 2 lives, but an entire company. Stay with me until the end to discover how a moment of failure became the catalyst for extraordinary change, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to see more stories that remind us of our shared humanity in a world that often forgets it. Mark Winters checked his watch for the 5th time as he sat in the crowded subway car. 7:15 a.m. He had exactly 45 minutes to drop his daughter Emma at his neighbor's apartment before making it downtown for his 9 a.m. interview. The babysitter had cancelled last night, again, and Mark had spent hours calling everyone he knew, desperate for help. Emma sat beside him, her small hand in his, her backpack filled with coloring books and snacks to keep her occupied at Mrs. Rodriguez's place. "Daddy, are you going to get the job today?" Emma asked, her voice small but hopeful. Mark forced a smile. "I'm going to try my very best, sweetheart." He had to get this job. After being laid off from his position as a software developer 8 months ago, their savings had dwindled to almost nothing. The rent was 2 weeks overdue, and the refrigerator at home contained little more than condiments and a half-gallon of milk. Since losing his wife to cancer 2 years ago, Mark had been both mother and father to Emma, and the weight of that responsibility pressed down on him with each passing day. The subway screeched to a halt, and Mark grabbed Emma's hand, navigating through the morning crowd. They emerged onto the street, the autumn air crisp against their faces. Mark walked quickly, Emma struggling to keep up with his long strides. "Slow down, Daddy," she complained, tugging at his hand. "I'm sorry, baby. We're just in a hurry today." He slowed his pace slightly, checking his watch again. 7:30 a.m. Mrs. Rodriguez answered her door in a floral housecoat, her gray hair still in curlers. "Buenos dias, Mark. And hello to you, little Emma." "Thank you so much for doing this," Mark said, handing over Emma's backpack. "I should be back by noon." "Take your time," Mrs. Rodriguez said, waving away his concern. "Emma and I will make cookies, yes?" Emma's face lit up, and Mark felt a pang of gratitude mixed with sadness. When was the last time he had been able to bake cookies with his daughter? To do anything fun with her at all? "Be good, Emma. I love you." He kissed the top of her head. "Love you too, Daddy. Good luck." Mark hurried back to the subway station, checking his phone. An email notification appeared, a reminder from Horizon Technologies about his interview. The position would be perfect, good salary, benefits, and most importantly, flexible hours that would allow him to be there for Emma. He had spent weeks preparing, studying the company, practicing answers to potential questions. The Horizon Technologies building loomed before him, a gleaming tower of glass and steel. Mark straightened his tie, the same one he had worn to his wife's funeral, and walked through the revolving doors. The lobby was immaculate, with modern furniture and a massive logo on the wall, a stylized Horizon line with the company name beneath it. "Mark Winters for a 9 a.m. interview," he told the receptionist, trying to keep his voice steady. "Please have a seat. Someone will be with you shortly." Mark sat on one of the sleek chairs, reviewing notes on his phone. His stomach churned with anxiety. This had to go well. It had to. 20 minutes later, a young woman in a crisp blazer approached. "Mr. Winters? I'm Sophia Lee, HR Director. Please follow me." The interview room was small but elegant, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a view of the city. 2 people waited inside, a middle-aged man with glasses and Elaine Chen, the CEO herself. Mark had researched her extensively, a self-made success story who had built Horizon from a small startup to a tech powerhouse in just 8 years. "Mr. Winters, welcome," Elaine said, gesturing to a chair. This is David Mercer, our CTO. The interview began smoothly. Mark answered questions about his experience, his coding skills, his previous projects. He felt himself relaxing slightly as the conversation flowed naturally. Then his phone buzzed in his pocket. Once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. Mark tried to ignore it, but anxiety crept up his spine. No one would call repeatedly unless it was an emergency. Emma. I'm sorry, he said, interrupting David mid-question. Would you mind if I checked my phone quickly? I have a young daughter, Anne. Of course, Elaine said, though her expression cooled slightly. Mark pulled out his phone to see 3 missed calls from Mrs. Rodriguez. As he looked at the screen, a text appeared. Emma fell. Hit her head. Taking her to urgent care. Please come. The blood drained from Mark's face. I'm so sorry, he said, standing abruptly. My daughter's been hurt. I have to go. Elaine's expression shifted from surprise to something unreadable. Mr. Winters, we're nearly finished. Perhaps. I can't, Mark said, already moving toward the door. She's all I have. I'm sorry. He hurried through the hallway, heart pounding. At the elevator, he realized he'd left his portfolio folder on the interview table, but there was no time to go back. Emma needed him. As the elevator doors closed, Mark caught a glimpse of Elaine Chen standing in the hallway, watching him with an inscrutable expression. The urgent care waiting room was crowded, but Mark spotted Mrs. Rodriguez immediately, her hands twisting a tissue. Where is she? Is she okay? Mark demanded. They're examining her now, Mrs. Rodriguez said. She was helping me reach the cookie cutters on a high shelf and fell off the step stool. I'm so sorry, Mark. A nurse appeared. Mr. Winters? You can come back now. Emma sat on an exam table, a small bandage on her forehead, her eyes red from crying. When she saw Mark, she reached for him. Daddy. Mark gathered her in his arms, relief washing over him. I'm here, baby. I'm here. The doctor explained that Emma had a mild concussion but would be fine. They needed to monitor her for the next 24 hours, but she could go home. As Mark signed the discharge papers, the reality of his situation crashed down on him. He had walked out of the most important interview of his life. The job that could have saved them was gone. Tears stung his eyes as he helped Emma into her jacket. Are you sad, Daddy? Emma asked, her small hand touching his cheek. Mark forced a smile. No, sweetheart. I'm just glad you're okay. But as they left the urgent care center, Mark felt the weight of failure pressing down on him. How would they survive now? 3 days later, Mark sat at his kitchen table, scrolling through job listings on his laptop. Emma was at school. He'd kept her home for a day after the concussion, but the doctor had cleared her to return. The rent was now officially late, and the final notice from the electric company sat unopened beside him. His phone rang, an unknown number. Probably another bill collector. Hello, he answered wearily. Mr. Winters? This is Sophia Lee from Horizon Technologies. Mark's heart skipped. Yes? Ms. Chen would like to meet with you today, if possible. Would 2 p.m. work for you? Mark glanced at the clock. That would give him just enough time to pick up Emma from school and drop her at Mrs. Rodriguez's again. Yes, 2 p.m. is fine. Excellent. We'll see you then. Mark hung up, confused. Why would the CEO want to meet with him after he'd walked out of the interview? Was it to return his portfolio? Or perhaps they wanted to give him a chance to explain himself? At 2 p.m. sharp, Mark once again stood in the lobby of Horizon Technologies. This time, Elaine Chen herself came to greet him. Mr. Winters, thank you for coming. Please follow me. Instead of returning to the interview room, she led him to her office, a spacious corner room with modern art on the walls and a desk that seemed to float on a glass base. "Please, sit down," she said, gesturing to a chair across from her desk. Mark sat, his hands clasped tightly in his lap. "Ms. Chen, I want to apologize for leaving so abruptly the other day. My daughter." Elaine held up a hand. "How is she?" "She's fine, thank you. A mild concussion, but she's already back at school." Elaine nodded, studying him. "Mr. Winters, after you left, I had our security team pull the footage of your departure. I saw you in the lobby, clearly upset. Then I found this." She slid his portfolio folder across the desk. "I looked through it. Your work is impressive, but what caught my attention was this." She opened the folder to reveal a photograph Mark had forgotten was there, a picture of him and Emma at the park, both smiling widely, ice cream cones in hand. It had been taken by a stranger on a rare carefree day, months ago. "Is this your daughter?" Elaine asked. "Yes." "Emma." "She's 6. And her mother?" Mark swallowed hard. "She passed away 2 years ago. Cancer." Elaine was quiet for a moment. "Mr. Winters, I'm going to tell you something few people know. Before I founded Horizon, I was a single mother working 3 jobs to make ends meet. My son's father left when I was pregnant. There were days when I had to choose between paying the electric bill and buying groceries." Mark stared at her, surprised by this personal revelation from a woman Forbes had described as intensely private. "The reason I built this company the way I did," she continued, "was to create a workplace I wish had existed when I was struggling. A place that understands that employees are people first, with lives and responsibilities outside these walls." She leaned forward. "When you left that interview to go to your injured daughter, you didn't fail a test, Mr. Winters. You passed one I didn't even know I was giving." Mark's throat tightened. "I don't understand." "I want to offer you the position," Elaine said. "With one modification to the original job description. We have an on-site childcare center for employees. Emma would be welcome there after school, and during school breaks. The hours are flexible, and we have a work-from-home policy for days when your daughter needs you." Mark couldn't speak, overwhelmed by what he was hearing. "Additionally," Elaine continued, "I'd like you to help develop a new initiative, a program specifically designed to support single parents in the tech industry. Training, mentorship, flexible schedules. You would be the perfect person to help shape it." "Why?" Mark finally managed. "Why would you do this?" Elaine's expression softened. "Because 17 years ago, someone took a chance on me when I had to leave an interview to pick up my sick son from daycare. That opportunity changed our lives. I've never forgotten it." She extended her hand. "So, Mr. Winters, do you accept the position?" Mark took her hand, his vision blurring with tears he couldn't hold back. "Yes. Thank you. Yes." 6 months later, Mark stood at a podium in the Horizon Technologies conference room, addressing the first cohort of the single-parent tech initiative. 20 men and women sat before him, their faces reflecting the same mixture of hope and determination he had felt half a year ago. "When I walked into my interview at Horizon," he began, "I was at the end of my rope. One emergency away from homelessness. One setback away from complete despair." From the back of the room, Emma waved at him from where she sat with the other children in the company's childcare program. Beside her stood Elaine Chen, who gave him an encouraging nod. "What I found instead was something revolutionary, a company that understands that being a good parent and being a good employee aren't mutually exclusive. That sometimes, the people who have the most to offer professionally are the ones juggling the most personally." The program had already gained national attention. 3 other tech companies had announced similar initiatives, and a feature in Business Insider had called it, "the future of workplace culture." "Today, you're not just starting a job," Mark continued. "You're joining a community that sees your struggles as strengths. Your challenges as qualifications. Your priorities as values we share. After the orientation, Mark found Elaine in her office, reviewing the press coverage of the initiative. The program's a success, she said as he entered. We've had over 500 applications for the next cohort. It's changing lives, Mark agreed. Including mine and Emma's. Their apartment was now in a safer neighborhood, closer to Emma's school. She was thriving in her classes and had made friends with the other children in the company childcare center. And Mark had found not just financial stability but purpose. I've been thinking, Elaine said, closing her laptop. We should expand the initiative. Create a foundation to help other companies implement similar programs. That would be amazing, Mark said. The impact could be enormous. Then let's do it, Elaine said simply. Sometimes the most revolutionary changes come from the most human moments. As Mark left her office, he passed the security monitor that had captured his tearful exit 6 months earlier. The same cameras had recorded countless other moments since then, Emma running to greet him after her first day in the childcare center, the celebration when his team had launched their first project, the day the single-parent tech initiative had been announced to applause from the entire company. One moment of failure had become the foundation for something extraordinary. One act of compassion had created ripples that continued to spread. That evening, as Mark helped Emma with her homework at their kitchen table, the same table where he had once sat surrounded by overdue bills, his phone pinged with a notification. A news alert: Horizon Technologies Single-Parent Initiative wins Innovation in Workplace Culture Award. Emma looked up from her math worksheet. Are you famous now, Daddy? Mark laughed. No, sweetheart. But we're part of something important. Like superheroes? She asked, eyes wide. Something like that, he said, thinking of Elaine Chen and the chance she had taken on him. Sometimes the most heroic thing we can do is recognize the hero in someone else. As the sun set outside their window, casting golden light across their home, Mark felt something he hadn't experienced in years, not just hope for tomorrow, but pride in today. One interview, one moment of crisis, one decision to put family first, it had changed everything. And somewhere across the city, in her own home, Elaine Chen was sharing the news of the award with her now-grown son, completing a circle that had begun 17 years ago when someone had seen her not just as a job candidate, but as a mother doing her best. Now she had passed that gift forward, creating a legacy that would continue long after both of them were gone. Sometimes the most powerful changes begin with the simplest recognition, that behind every resume is a human story. Behind every professional is a personal journey. And sometimes, what looks like failure in one moment becomes the foundation for success in the next. If you were moved by this story, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content that celebrates the power of compassion in business and life. Remember that the next time you face rejection or setback, it might just be the beginning of your greatest chapter. Because sometimes, what happens after you leave the room is even more important than what happens while you're in it. Be